Good Sunday morning, everybody. Good Sunday morning. Welcome to Sunday with Spirit. For those joining for the first time, this is not a political pull, it's a spiritual pull. Every Sunday, a group of us, we get together and we jump up and down on the web of creation. What we think about, what we vibrate, what we say, creates our life, creates our world. It affects everybody on the web and it affects us. So, what are we saying to ourselves? What are we saying to our neighbors on the web? The three different cards that I pulled were the Galactic Heritage, Return of Spirit, and the center one is from The Mystical Shaman by Alberto Fioldo. And this one I actually didn't pull, I searched for it, and I'll tell you in a minute why. The cards that I pulled last night that I thought were really, really important was 74, and I look at this and I go, oh, that's an 11. That's a master number. And it is initiation and ceremony, the Vega future. And what this was asking me to remember was that our ceremonies that we do, that we did in past lives, that some of the indigenous cultures still do today. And maybe in some current religious forms. I don't know much about that. I know about my upbringing as in Catholicism. But what happened there for me is that everything became rote. Everything became more of a chore than a celebration. And what this card is asking us to do is to go back to the celebration, is to go back to the ceremony and take that ceremony and make it new every time we do it. So if we say a prayer, every time we say a prayer, it should be, there should be a newness to it. Now, if you're doing Buddhist meditations, and again, I would have to ask my brother about this, or some of you all will know, you get into this rhythm, and that tonal rhythm is part of the ceremony. And what I am suggesting, and I may be overstepping here, is that you find joy in the repetition, in the tonality of what it's doing for you in your body. And because Buddhism is not my thing, I will leave that for you guys to decide if that is true or not for you. The second card I pulled, and I thought it was brilliant, in that we are in a melting pot, and this is Earth, and this is the future. Right now, we are in two pots, and we just had this big thing in the US, and I'm pulling these cards a day before, so I'm not sure how that is going to turn out. But we had this huge gathering of people coming together. And in the future, we are going to find out that we are all one. That we all have certain skill sets, we all have certain things that will enhance our lives. And as soon as we realize that we can learn from everyone, even some of the shadow stuff that we don't want to look at, that we are all one planet, one organism. And that includes Mother Earth and Father Rock. The next card that I pulled was generosity. And in this, again, these are all future time streams. Generosity, in the Lyra evolution of their society, they thought that they didn't have enough, that they couldn't be generous, because if they were generous, then they would be poorer. They didn't have enough. I can't give you health care because then I can't have health care. And we hear that today in our society. Well, in the US society anyway. We're a little behind the times. And it also goes along with, if we have a lot and we give, it's easy. But when we don't have a lot and we give, it's even more important. It's more powerful. So again, I'll let you sit with that and see how that resonates with you all on there. And again, I invite you to pull your cards and to see what messages you get. So this morning, I was saying my prayers, and I was thanking Creator for the breath in me, and I was changing up the ceremony of what I normally do. And I really try to keep it fresh all the time. And sometimes I fail at it. But today I kind of kept it fresh. And I went around the directions. And so the east direction is the sun rising, it's air, and I associate it with my power animals of eagle, condor, hawk. And as I did, we have a lot of crows, so I saw a crow fly overhead, and they're such gorgeous birds. And I don't know why that popped out like that, but because they're talking to me all the time, and sometimes I think, why are you so angry? And it's just their voice. They're not angry. It's just the way they talk. Anyway, I'm off topic. So I'm facing the east. I'm asking my power animals to show me how they glide on the currents. Let me see how I can incorporate some of that energy that they show me when they fly. And when I'm looking towards that direction, a hummingbird comes up and just stops and looks at me. And I'm like, oh, hummingbird, you are up very, very early. Good morning. And she just hanging there, not moving. Well, moving a lot. The wings are moving a lot. Hummingbird's not, just hovering. And then it takes off, and then it comes back, and then it goes backwards. Okay, thank you. And it's like one of the most powerful birds on the planet. And here I'm thinking eagle and condor, hawk, are some of the most powerful birds on the planet. And then this little hummingbird comes up and says, oh yeah? Can eagle fly backwards? Can eagle stop on a dime? Can eagle? And I'm like, hey, come on now. Let's not judge each other from, different abilities that we have. And I'm joking here. And so I went, hummingbird is telling me to be a little bit lighter in what I see as power, as my power animals. And so I took that and I said, well, let's take Hummingbird down to the south direction. Midday sun, the work, where I have jaguar, snake, and coyote. And Hummingbird dropped on to coyote. So coyote and Hummingbird dancing along. And then to the west, where I think of bear and whale, dolphin showed up with Hummingbird. And then to the north, where it's normally sacred, very solemn, it's white buffalo calf woman holding the sacred pipe, giving us the sacred ceremonies that are so revered and that should be so special and protected. Hummingbird showed up and said, yes, but with a lightness. And I went, okay. Now this is just me, so this is just for my awareness. So I think that, sometimes we get too serious in our practice of spirituality, and we need to take it very seriously, but be very light with it. So let's take a look at the 4 cards that I pulled to return to spirit, return of spirit. So we'll start off with the eastern direction, and it doesn't matter. There is no starting point where we are right now as somebody that's going into the winter cycles. We could start way up here, except if you're in Australia, then you'd probably be starting down in this area, getting to the summer. Okay, let's see. So the east direction was shown. Oh, Hummingbird. It's talking about a caretaker. So what does Hummingbird share with us as far as how we take care of ourselves? It feels like there is a movement in Hummingbird even when they're in mid-flight, when they're hovering. They eat a lot. Watch what you eat. They can take off and stop on a dime. They travel huge distances. So I think what I'm getting, and let me know what you guys get with this too. I think what I'm getting with this Hummingbird and caretaker is that with all this movement, non-movement, it's make sure that you pay attention, give a little attention to yourself, is what I'm hearing. And if we were going back to generosity and melting pot, then that would say pay attention to some others too as a caretaker. Maybe there's some people that we are ignoring that are in this melting pot that we're not in alignment with. And maybe we should stop to send them some care. The south card that I get, recognition. Well, this takes me into many different areas. But if we go back to initiation, ceremony, melting pot, and generosity, and the central theme of this is the Hummingbird card. It seems to me that this recognition that what we think is there is not what it seems. It's something smaller, yet more powerful, or as powerful as some of the big things that are being presented to us. Recognize the little stuff, the little vibrations that we put out on this web of creation. Okay. Oh, the Western card, Return to Spirit. Return of Spirit. I get those mixed up. They're little words. They're little teeny of, too. Return of Spirit is right underneath the initiation and ceremony. So often we get caught up in the day-to-day, minute-to-minute things that we forget how to return to Spirit, how to allow the return of Spirit in. That's a big one. How do we allow the return of Spirit? I think it's through the initiation and ceremony. I think it's being generous, and I think it's acknowledging the melting pot, being a caretaker, recognizing that all this is connected. And the final card we get, didn't they make a movie on this? Don't look up. Up. What does that mean to you? Everybody has a different point of view on what up is. Is it that we have our heads down to the ground too much? That our heads are maybe looking at the little teeny details versus looking up at the sky, looking up at the positive? Well, I just want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank Hummingbird for showing up. There's so much more to this reading that we can dig into. If we drop into this initiation and ceremony of getting quiet with the cards, with what we heard in our hearts from the message, maybe it's one card that popped out to you. Maybe it's three that strung together that gave you the message. Thank you so much for being here on this Sunday with Spirit. Peace and love. Peace and love.